Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/malicious compliance. In today's episode, a manager told me not to do part of my job, so I didn't. Customer had a reservation for the 4th floor at a 3-floor hotel, so I took her to the roof. Don't listen to me because I have less EXP? Okay, enjoy being blasted by the client. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. A manager told me not to do part of my job, so I didn't. This was a few years ago when I worked in a 4-star hotel chain that would be very well known and was part of a larger company that had hotels of varying status. I was about 24. There were a few of us who worked primarily in room service, and the breakfast shift was always a solo shift. One morning I started, and as was customary, I started doing my prep, folding napkins, setting up 5/6 trays with pastries etc. per the pre-ordered breakfast cards, so I would only need to grab the correct tea/coffee and hot food later, as well as a few extra all-purpose trays for the people who call for room service last minute. I just get finished with this when the duty manager, I can't remember his full name, but nickname was Prem, bursts into the kitchen with a dirty plate in his hand and sees me in my area, while putting it in the pile of dishes for the kitchen porter. He tells across the kitchen, "What are you doing? It's so crazy out there that I have to help clear tables and you are back here? Get out and help." I replied that I had not gone up and walked the halls to collect the trays left out overnight yet, and he yelled some more and repeated that if he, a manager, is clearing tables, I better help regardless of if my job is actually in a different area. For the record, Prem was a menace. I witnessed him yell in college girls' faces until they cried several times. He would also routinely pick on anyone that was minimum wage floor staff. So I walk into the restaurant and the supervisor, Jen, is at the door and sees me walk in. She covers for room service, and has worked it in the past, so she knows I should be collecting trays now, so that the place doesn't look like a war zone upstairs. She asks if I've done this and I say no, Prem sent me in to help because it's so busy. She says it's not very busy at all, they don't need me, and I should go upstairs and collect the dirty trays. I walk back into the kitchen and Prem is still standing there. "What are you doing? I told you to go in and help." I went in and Jen said they don't need me and told me to collect the trays. He then accuses me of going to her and asking can I go collect trays to get out of helping, so I tell him he can in and ask her if she called me, or if I approached her. This satisfies him that I'm at least not lying, but he's still not happy. He says I'm the duty manager. Manager. Jen is a supervisor. I'm higher up, so you do what I tell you. Go in there and help clear tables. I don't want to see you going up to collect trays. I go back into the restaurant and Jen looks at me confused. I tell her that Prem insists that I help and won't let me go upstairs, and says he outranks her, so she says I should join the guys at Station 1 and help their area. Breakfast passes and I pop out a few times to do my room services and come back with not much issue. My shift is until 3 p.m. and breakfast ended at 10:30 a.m. At this point nobody has been upstairs and housekeeping will have been putting out dirty trays. I get a call on the room service mobile from a housekeeping manager saying that floor 4 has a dozen or so trays in the hall. I'm sorry, the duty manager has prioritized other areas at the moment and has said I cannot go up. I start doing my afternoon prep, polishing cutlery and the like. About 12 p.m. I get another call, this time from the housekeeping's top manager. She tells me there is trays everywhere, and I politely apologize and explain that my duty manager has used the exact words, "I don't want to see you going up to collect trays." She accepts this without question and asks that I help when I can. At 2 p.m. I get a call from the hotel's director of operations regarding the trays. At this point there are trays in the hallways on all 7 floors and the place looks filthy. Again, I politely explain what instructions I've received from Prem, and this is accepted without further question, and he says he will inquire into it. 3 p.m. arrives, and I have not heard anything else, nor have I cleaned up the pigsty upstairs. My replacement arrives and I tell him what happened and apologize for the fact that he will have to collect these, but tell him why. He laughs and decides to leave it until somebody else calls and informs him they are there. Shortly after this, Prem left the company. Customer had a reservation for the 4th floor at a 3-floor hotel, so I took her to the roof. Several years ago I worked front desk at a privately owned hotel, non-chain, that had been a Days Inn 5 years prior. The only way to book a reservation was to talk to the front desk staff. No online reservations, no third-party reservations. About 50% of our rooms were sold to walk-ins. One holiday weekend we are booked full. Our elderly elevator is having some trouble with all the traffic and spooking guests, so I close it and call for a repairman, but it's 10 o'clock at night, so I'm not expecting anybody until the next morning. All of our guests are checked in, our accessibility rooms are on the same floor as the lobby, so I'll just help out anyone with their luggage if they have more and put up a sign saying so. In walks a woman I don't recognize from check-in. She plops a piece of paper in front of me, and then goes and gets lots of luggage. The paper shows her with a reservation at Days Inn at this address for tonight for 1/10 the price we were selling before being fully booked. She comes back to the desk likely thinking that I have been checking her in all this time. I regret to inform you that we do not accept third-party reservations. We are unfortunately already booked for the night. I have a reservation. It's right there. I paid good money for it. Ma'am, I believe you. Unfortunately, you are not in our system because we don't take third-party reservations. They sold it to you fraudulently. You are just trying to steal my money. I have a confirmation number right there. I handed it you. Yes, ma'am, you handed me a reservation to a Days Inn. We are, hotel name, gesturing to a sign. All of the signage inside and outside the building is correct. Also, this is for a 4th-floor room, we only have 3 floors. I stayed at this Days Inn last year on the 4th floor. This argument continues for a while with me keeping my cool, informing her that we are booked, all of our rooms are full, me insisting that we don't have a 4th floor, not Days Inn, don't take third-party reservations, etc. Eventually she screams at me that I am going to take her to her room on the 4th floor, that she paid for, right now. I don't respond, just stare at her with a blank face until she slaps the desk and screams now again. I don't mind making a room key, but I do grab my huge key ring, and we both load ourselves up with her excessive luggage and climb the stairs. Once we get to the 3rd floor I gesture to the 3rd floor sign, and tell her it is the 3rd floor. I then use my maintenance key to unlock the door to the maintenance stairs which are not lit, and she trudges up behind me not saying anything. I open the floor door to the tarred roof and walk outside. And here is the 4th floor, I hope it is as nice as the last time you stayed here. I drop her luggage, and go down the stairs back to the front desk. Honestly, had she been nicer to me, I would have tried to help her get a room at a different hotel and submit documentation to try and get her a refund, or charge back, from the third party, but since she screamed at me I left her and her luggage on the roof. Plus, she insisted she had stayed on the 4th floor, so that's what she got. Don't listen to me because I have less EXP? Okay, enjoy being blasted by the client. So let me set the scene. I'm a software engineer. I used to work for a pretty big company that specialized in developing software solutions for their client. I was sent on site to the client, which was a big Malaysian bank, to play the role of front-end developer, basically make their internet banking website. They already had back-end services set up for a mobile application, which we were also to use for the website. There was only one problem: you could only install the app in one phone and log into your account. This meant that if the customer logged into their app, they wouldn't be able to log in through the website. As anyone can determine, this is a big problem. I went to the back architect and tried to tell him, as well as the project manager, of this problem. They told me I don't know what I'm talking about and stop disturbing them, and just do my job and nothing else. I later found out that they hated the previous front-end manager, and would never listen to the front team. So I sent a mail detailing the whole problem to both of them, and their bosses as well. As expected, nothing happened, but my butt was covered. Fast forward 2 months, The client reviews the architecture for the website and finds that no changes have been made to the backend to accommodate the different behavior of the website. They call a meeting and blast the two above guys and their boss. They claim they are backend people and don't know the difference in behavior in a website, and it was my job to let them know. So they bring me in to question me why I didn't let them know, and because of me the project has been delayed 2 months and the company has incurred losses. I calmly tell them of my meeting with two idiots and show them the mail which they ignored. Then it was a glorious explosion. After that they always consider my suggestions. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.